Good afternoon. It is great to celebrate cultural diversity at Converse College. Some of the statements that I will make this afternoon might seem obvious. Others might be known already, and still others might actually be new to you. We live in a world of many cultures. That's obvious enough. In general, we can say that the culture of a people consists of their values, customs, beliefs, ways of thinking, speaking, feeling, and living. There are cultures such as Chinese, French, Greek, Italian, German, Hispanic, or Latino, etc. These cultures are not new. The newness of them is that today they are in more contact than ever. The airplane, the telephone, television, satellites, the web, social media, etc., make it possible for cultures to be in daily contact. In other words, there are no isolated cultures now. All of them are neighbors. In spite of this contact, many people do not understand nor respect other cultures different from their own. The world is a paradox. The technological advances of mass communication coexist with people's tendency to isolate themselves and even ignore other cultures. Many people say that it is troublesome to live this way. In order to have healthy societies and a peaceful world, we need to know and appreciate other ways of thinking, speaking, and living. Of all of them, Hispanic culture is of special importance to the United States. We all know that Mexico and the United States share a common and long boundary, and that Cuba is located just 90 miles from the state of Florida, like from here to Columbia, South Carolina. Besides, Hispanic culture exists not only in Spain and Spanish America, but also in the US. Here we live in daily contact with Mexican Americans, Puerto Ricans, Cuban Americans, and people with no fewer than 20 national origins who call themselves Hispanic or Latino. What is Hispanic culture? It is a synthesis of different cultures. The Census Bureau describes Hispanic or Latino ethnicity as, quote, a person of Cuban, Mexican, Puerto Rican, South or Central American, or other Spanish origin, regardless of race, end of quote. This culture began in the Iberian Peninsula, where Spain is located. There, the Iberians, the Celts, the Phoenicians, the Greeks, and the Carthaginians, the Romans, the Goths, the Jews, and the Arabs made contact. The legacies of all of these diverse cultures constitute the cultural heritage of Spain. The Spaniards brought this cultural diversity to what for them was the New World at the end of the 15th century. In turn, they found in the New World another cultural diversity, made up of different indigenous cultures, the Aztecs and the Mayas in today's Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, and Belize, and the Incas in today's Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia. In addition to these cultures, they found many other indigenous cultures in North, Central, and South America. The contact between the Spaniards and the different indigenous peoples and cultures produced a new process called mestizaje. From the first years of the 16th century, this racial and cultural mix starts existing side by side with the Spanish and the indigenous cultures. Later, throughout the centuries, this mix becomes predominant. The resulting cultural fusion is evident in every aspect of Hispanic life. As predominant as it is, though, mestizaje has not eliminated either the Spanish or the indigenous cultures. Actually, each of these three cultural worlds is a pillar in the cultural structure of Spanish America and Hispanics in the US. The process of mestizaje does not stop there. From the 16th century to the present, new cultural components have diversified and enriched it even further, like the African and Asian ones in North, Central, and South America and the Caribbean, as well as the German and Italian, mainly in Argentina and Chile. That is why we have Hispanics with Spanish first names and Italian last names, like the current Pope, with Spanish first names and Japanese last names, like a former president of Peru, and with Spanish first names and English last names, like a former president of Mexico. After the Second World War, many Jews and Arabs also settled in Spanish America. All of these cultural combinations are present today in Hispanic life outside and inside the US. The powerful link that unites them is the Spanish language. For more than 300 years, from the 16th to the 19th centuries, the Spaniards expanded the Spanish Empire, explored and settled large parts of what today is the US, and left their mark on it. As a result, a good number of our states have Spanish names, such as Florida, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Colorado, California, and even Montana, which is actually montaña, mountain, the Rocky Mountains. They also founded cities like San Juan, St. Augustine, Santa Fe, San Antonio, San Diego, Los Angeles, Albuquerque, Las Vegas, Sacramento, Santa Barbara, San Francisco, and others. Of these cities, San Juan, 1521, St. Augustine, 1565, and Santa Fe, 1607, were founded many years before the Mayflower arrived in 1620. As we can see, the Hispanic presence in the US has been for a long time an integral part of US history. In terms of size, Hispanics are a large minority in the United States. Nowadays, we are talking about a community of approximately 58 million people who grow daily. This growth is due to a high birth rate, as well as documented and undocumented migration. These days, Hispanics make up about 18% of the US population, making it already the largest, youngest, and fastest growing ethnic group. Overall, the US population increased by more than 2.2 million people between 2016 and 2017, with Hispanics accounting for 1.1 million, or about 51% of this growth. Closer to home, of the 10 states with the fastest growing Hispanic population between 2000 and 2011, 9 were in the South. According to the Census Bureau, it is estimated that by the middle of this century, the Hispanic population in the US will be about 106 million people, about double what it is today. The Hispanic presence not only has historical and demographic importance. In music, for example, the Latino rhythms have found widespread acceptance and enjoyment in this country. The same way that the rumba, cha-cha-cha, and mambo got the attention of the public in the past, today we hear everywhere, from airports to grocery stores, the captivating beats of the salsa, merengue, cumbia, corridos, etc., played with indigenous, European, and African instruments. Likewise, in food, our diets often include paella, tacos, tamales, tapas, fajitas, flautas, guacamole, and margaritas, which relieve a wide variety of tensions. Financially, Hispanics are already an important part of the US economy. As consumers, they have more than $1.3 trillion in buying power. Hispanics-owned businesses grew by 46% between 2007 and 2012, and they were responsible for 29% of real income growth in the US between 2005 and 2015. More than 30 banks are owned by Hispanics, with the largest having assets of more than $10 billion. Linguistically, the Spanish language has left its mark on the English language in words such as plaza, patio, siesta, vista, fiesta, canal, sierra, rodeo, we say rodeo, corral, café, and others. Furthermore, today the United States is the second Spanish-speaking country in the world. In terms of the number of people who use Spanish every day, Mexico ranks first, the US second, Spain third, and the rest of the Latin American countries follow. So, to sum up, 1, Hispanics are a diverse and inclusive population, which comprises Spanish, indigenous, African, Jews, Arabs, etc. In other words, there is not a typical Hispanic. 2. The multiple combinations of these racial and cultural strains have created different mestizo cultures outside and inside the US. 3. Hispanic presence in what today is the US is not new. In fact, it is very old indeed, dating back years before the Pilgrims arrived. 4. The Spanish language has left its indelible mark on the names of many cities and states, as well as on our everyday English. 5. Hispanic popular music is already a vibrant part of the US soundscape, and Hispanic food is present everywhere. 6. Hispanics are contributing decisively to the US population and economy. 7. Spanish is becoming the other language of the United States. And finally, as Hispanic culture shows, cultures are living syntheses. They are dynamic, not static social phenomena. It is up to us to understand them, immerse ourselves in the current of history, and live full and loving lives. Thank you.